Hey there, I'm professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up Sundays for October 30th, 2022. Happy Halloween. I tried to wear my most festive Halloween shirt that I own, my spider web shirt. So happy Halloween to you guys. Happy Day of the Dead if you celebrate that whenever you're watching this. So just a quick review of what's gone down over this last week. And as usual, I'm going to be talking about the transits for the entire week. I'm going to be doing mini readings for all 12 signs. I'll put the timestamps below. Please check out your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or if you have a stellium, which means 3 or more planets in a sign, check that out. So check out all the ones that are pertinent to you. And then I'm going to play a song that's an original. This one is in honor of my daughter, Samantha. I wrote it for her on her 16th birthday, and she just celebrated her 31st birthday this past week. Her birthday was October 26th. So my daughter, Samantha Noel, is now 31, but she was 16 when I wrote the song. So stick around or check the timestamp if you're interested in hearing that song. Okay, it's been intensive. Let me just say, I'm just going to cut to the chase. It is intensive. It's going to get even more intensive. Okay, what's been going down over the last week? So, as of the last 24 hours, Mars, the planet that represents how we take action and put energy into things, it's also the ruler of Aries and the god of war, has turned retrograde. Now, does that mean it's actually going backwards in the skies? No, it's an optical illusion, and it's about the placement with the earth. Say you're driving down the highway, your earth in the car driving, you pass up Mars, right? When you look in the rearview mirror, it looks like Mars is going backwards. Is Mars going forward? No, it's not going backwards. It's still going forward, just at a slower rate. But the dissonance creates an energy and an effect. So when planets station, is when they're the most potent and most intense. And whether that's stationing to go forward or stationing to go retrograde, they both can be intensive. And in the last week, Mars was at 25 degrees, just stationing, just stuck. So I felt exhausted this week. Now, I am a triple Aries, meaning my sun, my moon, and my Mercury are all in Aries. So Mars is my ruler for my sun and my moon and my Mercury. So I'm a triply ruled by Mars. So whatever Mars is doing in the skies affects me extra. So when it's slowing down to a stop, so was I. I could not get motivated to get moving this week. I just really felt like I had an elephant sitting on me. So that's how it's manifested for this Aries. But for everyone, it represents how we take action and put energy into things. So it's in Gemini, which is ruled by Mars. Gemini is the twins. It's our head. It's our thinking. It's the duality too. It's the two different paths, two different ideas, two different ways of looking at things. So Gemini rules the third house in the astrological wheel. So this is the house of communication of all kinds, whether you're writing or whether you're speaking to others directly, or you're texting, or you're emailing, or you're on social media. All these are ruled by Gemini in the third house, right? So you can expect all these kind of things to go wonky when Mars is going retrograde in Gemini. So it's going to feel very much like a Mercury retrograde, because when Mercury's the ruler of Gemini, also the ruler of Virgo. So when all these communication things, when Mercury goes retrograde, it can really jack up all these things. Well, it's going to be, Mars is going retrograde in a sign ruled by Mercury. So we often need to look to the rulers of what's going on to see how it's impacting us personally. So if you're a Gemini, you're going to be extra affected by this transit, right? Because it's at 25 degrees. It'll go all the way back to 8 degrees before it starts moving forward again. And it goes retrograde until the middle of January. So throughout the rest of this year, Mars is retrograde. So this can wreak havoc in having the energy to do things, to just feel like offline, out of sync, that it takes extra time and energy and attention to get things done. You might have to repeat things. The rewords come into play with the personal planets going retrograde. You may have to be reflecting more about how you want to move forward, getting yourself sort of psyched up. You need like extra psychic chutzpah right now because the mind can be overloaded right now. And then where is Mercury right now? It just moved into Scorpio. So the sun is in Scorpio right now. Venus is in Scorpio. The South Node has been in Scorpio since January. And now we have Mercury. So we have this huge stellium in Scorpio. And not only that, we had an eclipse at 2 degrees of Scorpio this past week, on 25 degrees, 2 degrees on the 25th of October. So this was a partial solar eclipse, new moon, new beginning, but in this sign about releasing and clearing. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. The old ruler was Mars. So Scorpio people may also feel really jacked around with this Mars retrograde. I really see Pluto more as the today ruler of Scorpio personally. So there's a very, very intensive way of dealing with, like when the sun by itself moves through Scorpio, we have a tendency to go inward and be reflective. Scorpio is the deep, dark waters. It's diving deep in our psyche. It can be doing deep level journal writing or doing past life regressions or doing therapy. Anything that's diving deep in the psyche is Scorpio. It's in these planets that are in the first decan, the sun, Venus, and now Mercury. It's all about like, how do I feel about myself? And all the water signs are about feelings, and Scorpio is like those ones we hold and keep close to the bone. Scorpios are the best secret keepers on the planet, almost to a fault, where if you want to tell someone something that really does not go anywhere else, tell that to a Scorpio and tell them not to tell anybody, and they won't. Whereas they also can keep secrets from you. You don't know things because they keep it close to the vest. You find scorpions underneath the rocks, right? So that Scorpio energy likes to kind of run away and hide. Often our knee-jerk reaction, our primal reaction, is not to go, oh, goody, let me dive deep in my psyche. It's like, oh, F that. Let me go distract myself and dive into an addiction somewhere, right? So this is some of the duplicity that we see going on with Scorpio energy. It can really bring up addictive patterns. It can, because it's intensive. Scorpio is where we merge with other people. It rules the 8th house in the astrological wheel. This is the house of death and transformation. It's taxes. It's money we merge with from other people, money we're gifted with from other people. So Scorpio is how we merge energy. So it's sexuality. So intensive. So on the other side of the astrological wheel from all this intensive Scorpio energy, we've got Taurus. Taurus and Scorpio are always opposites on the astrological wheel. It's the financial axis. So when planets are intensive around Taurus energies and Scorpio energies, we can often see it showing up for us financially, personally, or globally. So we had this Scorpio eclipse on the 25th. We are what's called between eclipses, because we feel eclipses beforehand, we feel them afterwards. So we're still feeling the wake of this eclipse in Scorpio last week. Anybody go deep sea diving inside themselves in the last week? Have something get triggered? That's old patterns, old stuff. Like, yeah, we're all kind of underneath this magnifying glass because we've got all this planetary energy focusing on these Scorpio things. The sun and Venus have been traveling together. They're just 2 degrees apart right now as I'm recording this. Venus is at 9 degrees of Scorpio and the sun's at 7. So they're still conjunct. Anything within 10-degree orb is considered conjunct. And then the closer it is, the more it's like it's chemistry, the more they're affecting each other, whether that's in a conjunction as I'm talking now, which is when they're close to each other, or when they're in an opposition, which means they're on the opposite side of the wheel. If they're in a trine or a sextile, those are positive connections. Squares and oppositions and quincunxes can be gnarly. These are just some geometry facts for you for astroastrology. So right now we've got this oppositional energy. The north and the south nodes are always opposite each other. And it takes 18 months for the nodes to travel through a sign. So they started into Taurus and Scorpio in January, and they'll be moving backwards. They move from 29 degrees to 0 degrees. So they move backward through the signs, like retrograde always almost, until we get to 0 degrees. And then next summer, I think it's around July, they move into Aries and Libra. So we'll start a whole new theme. So right now we're in the Taurus Scorpio themes. The North Node in Taurus is teaching us, it's our collective destiny, the North Node is. It's what we're all in class learning together. And as it's moving through Scorpio, I mean, it's through Taurus. The North Node's moving through Taurus, South Node's moving through Scorpio. North Node is what we're learning, it's our collective destiny, information coming in, where we should be putting our attention. South Node is what we're collectively releasing, letting go of old karmic patterns, stuff clearing. So when the sun and Mercury and Venus are moving into the sign where we're already working on clearing out and letting things go, because the South Node's moved there since January, it intensifies the house cleaning, basically. It's like, hurry up. We got to get through the garage. We got to get through the spare closet. We got to dig into all the pieces of our lives and dig deeply, right? And also then Taurus is what we value, who we value, our valuables. Do we find that the people in our life treat us as if we're valuable? Are we treating ourselves as if we're valuable? This is one of the Taurus themes. So it's our things and our values and our valuables together, both, like the energy of what we value, and then the precious things that we hold on to as well. Taurus holds on to things. Taurus is also the earth. So Uranus has been moving through Taurus for over 4 years now. It's been literally shaking up the earth. Think of how the drastic planetary changes have been going on. Maybe 5 years now that Uranus has been in Taurus. I forget when I just remember the summertime and the volcanoes started going off all over the planet as there is Uranus, which shakes things up. And right now it's shaking up the earth. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. It likes it sudden, unexpected. It likes to throw curveballs. Whatever it's doing, it's impacting and bringing like sudden, unexpected things. So as it's moving through Taurus, wherever you have Taurus in your chart, you can expect the unexpected coming in, happening. Right now, Taurus rules my 8th house. And since it's moved into Taurus, I've had several surprising deaths. That's the 8th house for me, of people that I know and love. Surprises, quick passings. It doesn't always have to be like that, but it can also be surprising money coming in. That's also happened for me in the last 5 years. So a couple of different times, chunks of money coming in that was unexpected. So Taurus is the 2nd house in astrology. It's where we earn our money. It's also our physical body, like our food, and how we grow our food, and how we store our things, and how we store our money, and how we feed our bodies, and how we take care of. It's like primal taking care of stuff. So when we have Uranus over there shaking up Taurus, it could have been shaking up over these last 4 or 5 years the way you feed yourself. You may have been felt compelled to shift that. You may have changed what you do for a living, or how you're earning money, or maybe getting money on a side, or finding a side hustle that works for you. Or, these are things that can change just for anybody. Now, depending on where Taurus is in your chart, you can fine tune it. But this is where our next eclipse is going to be, in Taurus, conjunct Uranus, this great awakener, and the North Node. So the next eclipse will be on November 8th, on election day here in the United States, because that's what we need on election day, right? Something sudden and unexpected. The signature of an eclipse is sudden, unexpected. It's portals. It's where we speed up and go through time more quickly. We learn lessons. Lessons come in more intensely. It can be like feeling like you're getting dogged by all your negative things, especially with the Scorpio energy, dredging stuff up from the past. So it's like the first eclipse was bringing, and we already had a series of eclipses earlier this year in Taurus and Scorpio too. So the eclipses have been working us along this financial axis for a while now. So any eclipses on the financial axis can affect us personally, financially, also the global, national money issues and big financial news. So interestingly, in the last couple of days here, we've had big financial shifts, right? We're in between eclipses, between the eclipses and the financial access. To the two big stories that I heard this week around money finances is Elon Musk's deal to buy Twitter went through. So that's a big shift in the financial thing. I don't know if that surprised anybody. It was like a back and forth deal with him. And then Kanye got stripped of a lot of his people, what are they called, deals, whatever, people he's representing, lost his billionaire status apparently, right? So he got whatever he was representing, and they took that away from him. So that was a big shift as well. So that's big, these are not little things, these are big things. I also heard a story about Chinese billionaires losing like 1/3 of their money or whatever. So there's some big financial shifts, not just teeny weeny ones, big ones, because eclipses bring in the big dogs, the big shifts, big energetics. So I've got this Taurus Scorpio thing. So I received an IRS thing on the first eclipse. It's like, here we go, incoming, sudden, unexpected tax things. So, it is what it is. We can't control the stars. We can't control the weather. We can't control other people. We may want to right now, especially because people can be going cray with this energy. Like people can be running away from themselves or being extra pissy with the Mars in retrograde. Like I said, the last week it was just at a standstill, which was like the little pissy stuff was coming up everywhere. Just people getting so irritated by the littlest things. I was getting irritated by the littlest things and just being sort of funky. Mars doesn't get to move. And then it's up in this chatterbox. Like have you ever been somewhere it's just like, oh wait, it's too noisy here for me. Like I can't, too much talking, too much, like that can how Gemini can feel like if the energy backs up, you're just like hearing all this talking heads all at once. That could be inside your own head too. Like with this Mars, like I want to move forward, but all I could do is get stuck up in my head, batting things around, intensive. So that's this energy that I'm feeling going. So we're between eclipses. We're still feeling the wake of the last one. We're already feeling the next one, which is going to be a total lunar eclipse. So it's a full moon on steroids, and it's on election day, conjunct Uranus. So we're already feeling that, even though this is, I'll be talking about this next week, of course, because it'll be right there. But we're already feeling this intensity now. Mars retrograde, we're already feeling like some people may have the kibosh put on certain plans. Again, it can show up all kinds of ways. Mars also is like, can be the knife, the scalpel cutting. So like it's not a good time to get surgery when Mars is retrograde. It just isn't. Like you go in with lots of prayers, like nothing's, nothing's set in stone. You just want to be careful with the knives, be careful moving through space with Mars retrograde, because you can just feel up in your head and not in your physical body, because that Gemini energy is an air sign and you want to be lift off. You could just feel sucked into social media. I'm sure that media stuff is going to be taking over the new. I mean, like we already are too obsessed, I think, in our culture with social media, with news. And I mean, we are headed into an election here. So we're going to have, but it's going to be surprises, like with the eclipse conjunct Uranus and a full moon on election day. I mean, I don't have any predictions except the signature of unexpected and not what we think. So whatever it is you're thinking the election is going to be like that, expect the unexpected. Expect surprise shifts in what the polls are saying is what I guess that's what we would be expecting. What the polls are saying things are going to be doing, and what they actually do is going to be something completely another. Like, I think they may just ditch polls after this election. I don't think they're reflective of what's really going down in the hearts and minds of people. And what's going down in the hearts and minds, they don't know, because they're up in their heads. I don't know which way to think. I don't know which way to go. Not only that, Mars has been in a square with Neptune for some time. It was in an exact square earlier in October, and it will retrograde back into another square exact, like it's like 3 passes on an exact square with Neptune, and really doesn't fall out of a square with Neptune for this next week for sure. And it'll get even more intensive as it goes backwards, because right now Neptune's at 22 degrees and it's retrograde. So Mars will go back to the 22-degree point, and then they're going to be exactly square. But right now, with Mars at 25 degrees, just 3 degrees off, they're still conjunct. The square is still active. So that is also like, Neptune dissolves, it takes away, it makes things nebulous. It can also bring in psychic and spiritual vibes. Like, it has this higher vibrational energy, Neptune does. The lower vibe is like illusion, delusion, addiction, getting stuck in the undertow. So that's already been going on with Mars for a while. So people can already been feeling this, like, I can't see clearly. I don't know what I want. I don't have any idea, because Neptune can make things really foggy, really fuzzy. Like I said, it can take things away, it can dissolve things. So with Mars not being able to move through space well, and Neptune going, I don't know, let's go peace out, man. Like it can just be like people checking out all over the place. Also active in the skies is a square between Uranus, the great awakener, the inventive, the maverick, let's do it different, let's refresh the energy, and Saturn, who likes it done the good old way, the way we've always done things. This is the boundaries, this is the no, this is the stop sign in the zodiac. Saturn's where we can put in extra time. Saturn is now direct. It went direct recently, so it's like back online after being retrograde. So again, boundaries could be the theme showing up a lot in relationships, because this Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Venus is the ruler of this next eclipse coming up, and Venus rules money and relationships. So Pluto was the ruler of the last eclipse in Scorpio, death and transformation, power and control issues getting stirred up. Now Venus is the ruler of the next one. So we could really have more financial things get disturbed, relationships get stirred up. That could be for good or bad. You can have a sudden breakthrough in a relationship. You can have a sudden break up in a relationship. You can have a sudden coming together in relationships, because around eclipses are portals. Remember, people can come into your life and exit your life around eclipses. Like, okay, it's like time, sewing up the time. Okay, lesson learned, moving on. Oh, new lesson beginning. Like, this is the portal around the eclipses, and it's just intensive, and it would be intensive all by itself. Even if we didn't have a stellium of planets in Scorpio, bring in the intensity game and upping it. It's like the mobster at the poker table coming in, like, I'll take that and I'll raise you 12,000 times. It's like, whoa, it just makes it so intensive right now. So with Mars retrograde, it's really important not to try to push or force things, right? is when you try your Jedi mind tricks, when you really just get in to trying to get out of your head too, because Mars is offline in Gemini, which means it could get caught up in your head, bouncing things back and forth, which can also pull you off track as well. So physical body could feel disengaged, mental body is in a chatter and a tizzy, doesn't know which end is up. So then we have to drop into heart, drop into presence, drop into divine, drop into deep level breathing, go into nature. Whatever you do, go into the tub, whatever it does it for you that grounds you into your physical body and connects you with your higher self, your own intuitive voice. I believe everyone is psychic. We all have psychic abilities. For some of us, the volume is turned up extra loud. For some people, the volume is turned down or that volume button is turned off. Doesn't mean you can't increase the volume or even tone down the volume if it's too intensive and you're too psychically, you're empathically picking up on everything. So as a psychic, we all operate differently. So I'm a channel, which means information just comes through. I'm an empath, which means I can feel what other people are feeling. And I'm a medium, which means people's loved ones will interrupt and, well, just deliver an information, like tell me what they want conveyed. It shows up differently with everybody depending on how adept they are. But those are the ways those were my strengths. I'm not telepathic. I can't read your mind. Thank God I don't have that one. And I feel for those of you who do, because that's an intense one, to be picking up what everybody's thinking. I had a client come to me once, because I walk into a room and I know what everyone is thinking. How do I make that stop? And I was like, okay, how do we look at this as a gift? Because I feel the same way about walking into a room and feeling what everybody's feeling. It took me a lot of years until I realized, oh, not everybody's picking up what everybody's feeling in the room. Oh, okay, good to know, because you don't know what you don't know, right? Some people are very visual, right? They see auras, they see spirit guides, they can draw things. That's not me. Like, I don't see auras, I don't see spirit guides. I get a sense of who they are. It's more of the energy that I pick up on. So everybody's different. So I just encourage everyone to tap in the way that your intuition shows up for you. Mine first started showing up in dreams when I was a kid. And then deja vu stuff happened all the time. And then I realized years later that I had been channeling my whole life, like stuff coming out of my mouth, and the people would say, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you so much for telling me that. Or how did you know that? Or like just stuff like that had been happening a lot before I clicked in what was going on. Right. So there's a vast world out there of psychic things, and there's no need to be afraid. There is need to protect yourself. I had a conversation with a client this week about protecting yourself, and she was curious because she wants to develop her abilities, but is a bit afraid of the great unknown. And there are definitely lots of beautiful high vibrational spirits and guides that are around and available to come in and connect with us, the angelic realm, we can call them. But there are also people that are stuck in between lifetimes that are maybe in a spirit form, but they don't know where they are. They're lost. We can call them ghosts, stuck between planes, basically stuck between dimensions is what a ghost is. That's not usually a high vibrational energy. They can be funny or mischievous. They can be really awful too. I've experienced both ends of that pendulum. So you don't want to just open up just to any and everything, right? You want to pick and choose who and what you're opening up into. And it's always safe to open up within your own divine self, with your own divine nature. The tools that you pick up to do that are vast and varied, and they run the gamut through all kinds of different religions, all kinds of traditions, sounds, vibrations, chants, mantras, breath work, silence, visual meditations. There's just so many ways to get there. The important thing is that you notice what gets you there the easiest and the quickest, and put yourself in that space to connect with the divine. And when you're connecting with divine, your intuition is like the ears are open on your own intuitive hearing. your own intuitive feeling, when you're in that communion with the divine and you're in a safe space that you feel loved on by the universe, you feel adored, cherished, that's the space to open up into the desire to connect with your own intuitive abilities, or to have the courage to, some of you know what your intuition's saying, you're just afraid to act on it. Once you start taking those first steps in response to how you're feeling guided to take, it gets easier. It gets, that voice gets stronger, it gets louder. So if you're wanting to practice that, the first thing I can say is just to ask yourself every morning in a quiet space, what today do I feel guided to do? Not what do I need to do, what do I have to do, but what do I feel guided to do, right? Because there's all these factors that can get in the way and blur things. And right now it is hard to tune in, even for those of us who have, I mean, I've had a spiritual practice for over 38 years now, a daily spiritual practice where I chanted or meditated every day, no matter what. And it is, I'm having to like dive deeper, spend more time than usual with my spiritual practices, because it just feels so intensive out there. And as an empath, I'm picking up on everyone's distress, not just my own. So ring yourself out. If you're like me and you're an empath, you have to do the things that fortify yourself and pull you back into center. Okay, so I'm talking about the Gemini energies. Also, Gemini, so Mars is in Gemini. Gemini is asking us, what are we saying to ourselves, especially as Mars goes retrograde and we can do more inner reflection. That is a benefit of Mars retrograde, is that we can be more self-reflective. It can be easier. If you were born with Mars retrograde in your birth chart, you may feel like you're coming awake during a Mars retrograde. You may like, oh, okay, it's go time. Like it fits everybody differently. But in general, a lot of us just are going to feel sluggish and clueless and not know. But it can be a time to examine our thoughts, since where our energy is going to be more in our thoughts. If you can observe your thinking, what are you telling yourself, right? What kind of messages are going through? A lot of times we don't stop to pay attention to, what message am I giving myself right now? And it may not be literal thoughts. Sometimes for me, it's a tone. I'm a musician, right? So it's a tone. It can be the tone of like a horror flick, or it can be the tone of something's coming really beautiful, something's wonderful. It can be a tone of what's going to jump out at me at the next whatever, so it's like, it's a great time to examine your inner climate. And are you telling yourself positive things? Are you encouraging yourself? Are you giving yourself positive messages about moving forward and how you take action and put energy into things? Are you saying positive things about your physical body? How are you using your words with other people and with yourself? Like, this is one of the things that we can really begin to examine. And it may become also extra clear how other people are talking to us during this time. Like, we may see or hear stuff that we hadn't seen or heard, or maybe we are seeing it and just like, then it becomes to that breaking point, like, yeah, none more of that. So so the Mars retrograde energy, it's got this connection with Neptune. I talked about the square there. It's got a trine that'll be going on with Saturn as it backs up a little bit more. It's loosely trining Saturn right now, still within that 10-degree orb. Saturn's at 18 degrees of Aquarius right now. Mars, like I said, it's 25. So they're in a loose trine. So this is also us, as it goes retrograde, it'll get into an exact trine, and I'll talk about that before it happens. But it's a way of where we're trying to sync up our plans and our actions. Like, Saturn's where we sit down and make the plans up. We draw up the boundaries, we draw up what the rules are going to be. Mars is okay, and then I'm going to do them. And so it's a great time to make plans, right? And of all kinds right now during Mars retrograde. All right, let me see what else I've gotten down in my notes. I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I'm just having this move through me. And I want to talk more about the South Node in Scorpio, where we're letting go of things, and this can just be so intense and so extreme. It can feel like a churning, It can feel like you're physically congested. Mars can make you feel that, but all this energy in Scorpio can feel super intensive. And you may want to be away from people and things. It's just Scorpios are super instinctual and super intuitive and spiritual. So with all these planets in Scorpio, one of the advantages is it's a great time to get deep and spiritual, to connect, to have a deep level conversation with someone else, to have a deep realization within yourself. Great times for this. It can just be really intense. You can get to where you're purging too intensively. You may feel like you've got energetic bulimia. You're throwing up something energetically over and over and over again. You may be cutting ties with people, because that's also secrets can come up and be revealed. Pluto is like the keeper of secrets, the lord of the underworld. And so with the planets moving over, and Mercury and the Sun and Venus were all move over the south node between now and the eclipse on November 8th. So Venus is the closest to it. It'll move over it first. So as Venus, where we may be letting go of money, letting go of old relationships, because karma, past life, old patterns, that's what the South Node is about. We're releasing old patterns. So as Venus is conjunct the South Node in this next week, we could be letting go of relationships, letting go of relationship patterns. These things no longer serve me. I'm no longer willing to be loved like this. Like, this is how I choose to be loved. This is how I choose to receive energy. So this could be like setting up boundaries when it comes to relationships. Then the Sun goes over a couple of days after we have a conjunction with the Sun in the South Node. The Sun is illuminating all the stuff we're supposed to be letting go of. So we get all these chances to like release. It's almost like prying your fingers off one by one. You had something gripped. The planets are going to come by one and help take your fingers off of whatever it is you're grasping hold of. And then I think the eclipse on the 8th is going to be like, so Venus will cross the South Node, then the Sun will cross the South Node, then Mercury will cross the South Node. And they'll all be then opposite the full moon. Full moons where the Sun and Moon are opposite each other. So the full moon will be conjunct the North Node, what we're supposed to be learning, realizations, ahas, and Uranus, this great awakener. And so Venus on the other side of it, and Mercury, it's like it could really shake up love, relationships, conversations, what you think about things, who you love and what you love. All that can be up for complete transformation because of the energy that all these planets in Scorpio are doing, all huddled around and interacting with the South Node, are all like, let's let go of this. Let's get low of that. While we're at it, we need to let go of this. So like karmic patterns, people in our lives, stinking ways of thinking, negative ways that we hold ourselves. So this is our work here between now and the eclipse here, is to let go of this stuff that's not serving us, where we're not feeling valued. Okay, so Venus, I have that Venus will be conjuncting the South Node on Tuesday. So that's when that first conjunction happens this week. And then I think the Sun, we got the moon is going to be trining the Sun, Venus and the South Node, like the Venus and the Sun and the South Node all close to each other. There's going to be a lot of karmic stuff going on this week. Like a lot of, you may have exes from past lives show up. You maybe have exes from this life show up again. Mars retrograde, it is the masculine principle. So it can bring men back into your life that have gone on, or male energy can, even if you're a woman, you can have a woman come back in your life too. It'd be someone who's a strong, powerful woman that would maybe come back into your life with the Mars retrograde energy. So, and Venus here is like down deep in Scorpio, deep sea diving. She's trying to figure out, do I love myself or not? I think that's what Venus is doing this week. Do I love me? Am I putting loving energy into me? I think Venus is asking this question. I need to let go of these patterns because it's me not treating myself well. I think that's what Venus is up to this week, as I'm just feeling this energy out. So we'll have the moon going into Aquarius. Right now it's in Capricorn. It'll be going into Aquarius Monday and into Tuesday. Then the moon moves into Pisces Wednesday into Thursday. Venus in Scorpio, Venus is passion, right? Love, relationships, our money. A Venus Scorpio is like deeply, deeply passionate. If you have that in your natal chart, you can go really deep in relationship to the point of being obsessed because down deep in the tunnels of Scorpio is deep obsessions and addictions kind of energy. So Venus in Scorpio could be when you're addicted to somebody. And so you could even, if that's going on, you could just even see that, because deep level enmeshment and addiction is not healthy. And it doesn't matter how many past lives you've had with someone. If you have an unhealthy connection in this lifetime, it is not serving you to continue it and to drown yourself in a relationship. If you're losing your sense of self because of a relationship you're in and you're putting the other person first, those are the red flags. Those are the signs that you're doing it wrong, that you could be doing it a better way for yourself. All right, Uranus and Taurus with the conjunct the North Node, explosions, eruptions, earthquakes, literal, resolutions. Like it can be extreme weather. We had a thunderstorm blow through here right before the eclipse last week. With Uranus involved in Taurus, like I'm expecting kind of sudden, unexpected weather stuff all across this globe is really what I'm and I'm worried about Mars retrograde being the god of war, and people with unresolved anger stuff just having this energy backing up on them, more likely to act out. If someone's not addressing their own feelings, they tend to project them onto the world around them. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about people with unresolved issues. They're likely to project them onto you, onto the world around you. The other driver they can scream at, right? It's just intensive. So the moon moves into Aries on Friday. So Aries again, then it triggers Mars, because Mars is the ruler of Aries. So over the next weekend, it can be super intensive with the moon moving through Aries. Just again, the extra pissy stuff. We also have the sun will be conjuncting the South Node. It's still there. Venus is going to be opposing Uranus on next Saturday. So that could bring things up to a head as well. There's just this intensive energy being activated, primarily on this Taurus Scorpio. That's where the eclipses are going on. And that's where we have Uranus. And then we have Venus, the sun, and Mercury in Scorpio. So we've got a lot of powerful energy. Uranus could kind of handle the sun, Venus, and Mercury all by itself. That's how powerful Uranus is. So the North Node conjunct Uranus is, the eclipse, full moon conjunct Uranus is going to be earth-changing, life-changing. Eclipses can be life-changing anyway, but this one feels particularly life-changing. And with Mars retrograde, I'm worried about eruptions, because Uranus can bring eruptions. It can bring eruptions from the earth, the planet itself. It can bring eruptions from people who are repressed. So I'm just concerned about that. So we just put extra prayer around our globe, right? And we can't control that. There is the good thing that Jupiter is now moved to the last degrees of Pisces. So it is now bringing in the juju from the whole spectrum of the zodiac. It'll move to 28 degrees. So 28, 29 degrees are the last 2 degrees of the entire zodiac. So this is where you have those spiritual realizations. That's where you have those aha moments. That's when you get it. That's when you connect with spirit. And Jupiter brings good luck. It's also close to the Earth axis, the global axis, which is at 0 degrees of the cardinal sign. So 0 degrees of Aries, Jupiter's still just 1 degree, and it'll only get 2 degrees off that global axis. And so it is helping the planet right now, as Jupiter is closer to the Earth than it has been in 60 years. And the last time it was this close to the Earth, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. So there is this way of like bringing, Jupiter makes things bigger, so intensifies, magnifies what people are feeling and thinking and what's going on internally. So next weekend, we're also going to have the moon squaring Pluto, Venus will square Saturn. So we just have some, it's just combustible. And then we move into the eclipse the following week. And we'll have the sun conjunct Venus still. Like the sun and Venus are traveling close together and have been for a couple of weeks now. So they'll continue to travel together this week. So you are continuing to shine the light on relationships, who we love, what we love, and our money. And Scorpio is how we feel about all that, you know, how we intuit, like, what does this feel right intuitively? Does this feel right emotionally? So we're finding our way. It's definitely that can strengthen intuitively trying to find our way right now. Because right now, if we try to figure it out, Mars and Gemini, we can like be not know what end is up, because it's harder to think clearly right now, especially Mercury is the ruler of our thinking. It's gone into the deep dark waters of Scorpio too. So our thinking has gone deep sea diving. So if you're contemplating your navel, if you're doing deep therapy, deep healing work, you can love this time, because it's an opportunity to really come up with the big fish from down deep. If you don't want to do that work, if you just want to move forward, come on, let's get this over with, you can just be frustrated left and right, running into the brick walls. Saturn square Uranus. Saturn is keeping things in check while Uranus is trying to break free. You know, this eclipse that we're heading into is all about breaking free. Freedom is what I'm getting. So what is having you in your life feel not free right now? Do you not feel free to speak or sing? Do you not feel free to take certain actions or do certain things? Do you not feel free to be who you are? Like, where do you feel like your freedoms are being limited? And there's chances are that you can have like a breakthrough, breakout, breakdown in those areas where you feel like you're being restricted, constricted, confined right now. Because I feel like we're all almost like that bull in the pen being, you know, pulled back in, and wants to go charging after something red and can't. So I know the bull is a Taurus sign, but I'm feeling like that ram energy can relate to just being pulled back and not allowed to get going. So great, powerful juju for going into meditation with this energy, however, and going within, doing guided meditations. Like, this is a great week to get internal, to have deep level conversations with people. Expect the unexpected when it comes to relationships this week. Incoming, exiting, surprising conversations in relationships. Yeah, all that. So it's going to be a bag of tricks going on this next week, and just intensive. Scorpio intensive, Mars retrograde intensive, Saturn square Uranus intensive, Mars square Neptune. What? Okay, I think that's all I have about the transits for this week. Check out my dailies that I post here, and I post them on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. If you want to know what I tune in on a daily basis, I'll get the transits the most intense or powerful for that day, and I'll talk about them. I draw a card and talk about that, just all in 59 seconds. So make sure you check those out. And like, subscribe, share this video. If you're liking what you're hearing here, share it with those that you know like this kind of stuff. And let's do a wildfire spread of people finding out about this channel. And thank you for those of you who are donating to support this channel. I really greatly appreciate your regular contributions. Some of you are contributing regularly. Really appreciate that. And even the surprise one-time donation tips are gratefully received. So just thank you for that. All right, so now I'm going to move on. Okay, so I'm moving on to your favorite part of this video. I know from those of you who watch this regularly and give me feedback that you really like this part the best when I do mini readings for all 12 signs. Okay, so we're going to start with the Aries. So this is if your sun, your moon, your rising sign is Aries. See what you need to know this week. I invite you to breathe along with me as you're waiting for what I'm going to say. The postponement card. So this card comes up when people are feeling depressed, feeling funky, don't feel like you can move through space. And again, us Aries, it's just really intensive right now with Mars retrograde. So you have to give yourself a lot more grace right now. Try not to beat yourself up or have things be black and white. Know that this too shall pass, even if it's taking a while to pass. This postponement card can mean like you're waiting for something to happen. You feel like you're on hold. You're just not yourself, just feeling off. I see a lot of times in my clients that have this postponement card coming up, you know, one of the most, it shows depression more than any other thing, especially in creative people that aren't doing their creativity. Like if it's not flowing or barely flowing, there can be this creative backup then that lends itself to depression. So a lot of times you can just get out of a funk just by getting some chi flowing, doing a puzzle, doing diamond painting, doing adult coloring books. These are all kind of easy, no-brainer things just to get things flowing and moving. And sometimes we're in that sort of trance-like state, jewelry making, anything that's repetitive, that's not involving the screen, like backgammon or whatever you might be caught up in doing over and over again frenetically. Like our brains right now need to become unfried, like this Mercury energy of Mars moving backwards now through Gemini can really make us be glitchy feeling internally. So, you know, you may have to do a different pace. Your pace may not be what your usual pace is for whatever it is, fill in the blank, but it's okay for you to establish a new rhythm. It's kind of like if you were going to go to a spiritual retreat and the rules were, okay, for the next 10 days, silence. Like what a big shift that would be to move through space, look at things differently. So I'm feeling like doing something profound like that, taking a social media break, taking a break from whatever you feel like you're doing to excess, whatever feels like it's out of balance and is sort of sucking you in. Where can you immerse yourself, these deep, dark waters of Scorpio? Where can you deeply immerse yourself into something that would be deeply satisfying? Could be deeply reading a novel or delving into an instrument or into old pictures or whatever creative thing. You could be delving into cooking up something new. You could be delving into gardening or childcare, even grooming, like how you're going to change up your look. These are all new areas to explore this week. You're not feeling your normal groove. Okay, what can you do differently in a new way that can shake it up and to breathe some fresh air and some good energy into the space that you're in right now, which may not feel the best. Like it feels like it's just important to be lighthearted, to really grab the rose quartz chunks around you to, like, I've got mine right here. When we talk about chunk of rose quartz, I'm talking chunk of rose quartz. Okay, this is a chunk of rose quartz. You know, sometimes we need the big chunks to really help a wounded heart. That's what I'm going to say about that. So, like, sometimes we need a little help from our friends. So Rescue Remedy is also really good. I highly recommend it. Bach Flower Remedies, Rescue Remedy. You can get this in at Whole Foods. You take a few drops underneath your tongue, and it can help. Really, these are the essences of flowers that can really help shift things if you get stuck. I've got my rose water oil here. Got this at Whole Foods. I put some of this Rescue Remedy into it. So when I spritz myself, not only am I spritzing essential oils of rose and a light water mist, I smell the essential oil of rose, which really helps with heart chakra. I've spritzed my auric field with also this Rescue Remedy, which can help defrag the energetic space. So self-care, little tricks and tips like that. Grab your stones, grab your essential oils, grab your crystals, grab your teddy bear, like nurture yourself. Allow the agape love, the divine love, to really permeate your heart this week, Aries. Let it, you know, surprise you. Let it bring surprises. Let it bring like heart-centered people into your life. Maybe someone new that's heart-centered. You know, relationship could shift open, a heart could break open. Someone could deliver a message that opens your heart. You could just hear one. You could tune into something that's exactly what your heart needs to hear. I feel like the emphasis this week, Aries, is to pay attention to your heart. Not what are you thinking? What do I need to do? How does my heart feel right now? Do I feel loved right now by the universe? If not, let me breathe and dive into some good love feeling juju so that I feel that, because we can tap into divine love like that and feel loved and supported and cherished. It might even feel good to feel like you're being rocked by divine hands, that you're just being coddled by the universe, that this is okay. This too shall pass. We're going to break through this. It's going to be okay. This too shall pass. Can't say that one enough. Like, whatever this wall is, it feels like, this will shift. It won't always feel like this. Taurus. Tuning into the energy of Taurus, the bull. You've got this eclipse coming up in your sign, so you could feel very personally affected by this eclipse. The last one was opposite your sign, so that can feel intensive as well. There may be some drastic changes going on in your personal life. New beginnings or big endings, both could be happening at the same time. This is the conditioning card. The story behind this card is this lion gets lost as a cub and falls in with a pack of sheep. So his whole life he's around sheep. And what are the sheep doing? They're eating and shitting and sleeping. And that's about it. And the lion is so restless. He does not know why he's feeling so janky and wants to get moving. And anybody else want to go play? And the sheep will look at him like, what? Like, no, we're here eating. And so one day another lion spots him, like sees his reflection, calls to him, takes him down to the nearby water source where he can see his reflection. And he's like, oh, I'm a lion. No wonder. Like, he gets it. He's trying to fit in to a tribe that's not his tribe. It's not his people. So that's the story for you guys right now, Tauruses. In some way, shape, form, or fashion, are you trying to force your environment to work out for you and it doesn't? Are you needing to let go of someone or something in your environment and allow yourself to be who you are at your fullness, even if it means you travel alone for a while until you find your tribe? Like, this is what's going on with the Taurus. Could be symbolic, could be literal, could even just be a rethinking of how you view yourself. And do you see what's unique and special about you? Because it's important to see that. And I think with the eclipse and the full moon coming up in your sign here in another 10 days, less than that, you can really feel like something is being drawn out of you. Like really, you might feel this sort of nervous, something is about to happen energy. Just, could be a little restless energy because that, Uranus is getting ready to quake up something in your sign. And depending where your planets are that are in Taurus, this eclipse is going to be happening around from 13 to 16 degrees is where kind of the planets are going to be in this eclipse energy. 16 degrees is when it's exact. But the the north node will be at 13 degrees and Uranus will be there at 17 degrees. So they're in this mix too. So very, very, so wherever, if you know the degrees that your sun sign is, or if your Venus or moon or is in Taurus, if you know those degrees, you can see what different aspects are getting direct hits. Wherever your planets are in Taurus, you're going to feel this as a Tauran. Like this can really feel personal, like that there's a major, it could feel like you're being celebrated and like blown out of a cannon in a way. So it could be sudden, unexpected, positive things. It feels like there's definite shifts going on for the Tauruses for me. Like there is something shifting in major ways, maybe a series of shifts. I'm hearing the word seismic. So there could be some seismic shifts happening. There could be some earthquakes, literal happening. It's not your fault, but if you're living on a fault line, pay attention, Tauruses. Trust your intuition. If it says, I think I'll go visit Aunt Frida. Okay, anything else for the Tauruses? I don't think so. Okay, I'm going to move on to the Geminis. All right, Geminis, you may feel this Mars retrograde extra strong because it's in your sign. So it may feel personal. You may feel like personally held back, or that something is shifting and it's personal. Interesting. I drew two cards at once, so I'm going to draw them both. You are the Gemini after all, but these are both saying very similar things. This is one of my psychic cards, the turning in card. This is about picking up on psychic abilities and all the energies. This can be indicating sometimes that you're a channel or you're a medium and you can pick up on other energies, people around you. This is guidance. This is your own intuition allowing you to be pulled, allowing you to be guided. There could be some this little person's looking back the other direction. So there can be some, I'm not sure, is this right? Is this my guidance? I don't know what my guidance is. I remember feeling that when I first started trying to tune in and develop my abilities. I really wasn't sure what guidance was versus what were just my thoughts. Like I didn't know the difference. And over time, I've learned that when something is coming from a guided place within, it is this like calling, a longing, and it'd be like, wouldn't you love to, wouldn't it be nice if, it's so fabulous when, like there's a just a lovely energy where your mind could say, well, you need to do this, you shouldn't do that, you should have done that, you must, there's just it's more of a Saturn kind of energy. You need to go do this. That's more the brain talking. Intuition can be more loving and more sense of, it can be more easily ignored because it's not coming down as a command. Sometimes I have heard psychic things come in very loudly. I'm thinking of an incident of when I was almost audibly heard slow up when I was heading into an intersection and I pulled off my accelerator. I had a green light, and just if I hadn't have listened to that intuitive hold up and taken my foot off the accelerator, I would have T-boned a bicyclist that was just trying to come across the street and didn't see me coming up. So sometimes your intuition can scream, your guides can scream. It still has a different vibe, right? Than if it's your own brain. There's a different vibe. There's an energy that's attached to your intuition. So with Mars retrograde in your sign, it might be actually easier for you to get in touch with intuition, because the brain is going to feel like, everybody's going to feel like you guys with Mars going backwards in Gemini. Like, so this duplicity in the mind that says this versus the mind that says that. So this could even be a battle of two different parts of you that you feel are both intuitive. I think, well, this is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing, but I also feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. It can feel like a conflict going on. I feel like this is when you just hold the center and you ask for the highest, best result to show itself, like the highest, best thing for my life. Please show me what the highest, best thing for my life is. Show me what the highest, best thing, like I'm open to the highest, best things in my life. I'm open to the highest, best relationship I can have. I'm open to the highest, best payment for work that I can receive. I'm open for payments from the universe that don't involve work. I'm like, just like try just exercise of like unlimited thinking. Where are you blocking yourself? Where are you telling yourself I can't? And can you just try to reverse those and have them be like open-ended instead? I've got unlimited potential, because that's the truth. We have unlimited potential. We're not stuck. We're not blocked. We're unlimited. So I feel like this could be a really creative time for Geminis right now. Like lots of creative ideas could just come out. Again, you may not be able to put them into action right now. You may be able to jot them down so you don't forget them, but it feels like there's just a lot of juicy stuff that can download when you're just a little bit caught off guard, a little bit more in a trance state than thinking things through logically, rationally, if that makes sense. And so trance state, to me, that's meditation, is more like a trance state where you're just like calm, you disconnect from what's going on in the world, like step away from the news, step away from social media platforms, step away from frenetic energy, and just be still. Like it feels like there's a huge need for that this week for the Geminis, to find your point of stillness. Sometimes you guys are just always, you wake up in the morning and it's what to do and what to, like, it just is going from the moment you get up. Like, can you just get into a state of being where you just become one with a flower and you're the flower, or you're a butterfly if you need to flit around a little bit, but you don't have an agenda. You're not running things. Step off the accelerator. Mars is retrograde. We can't power through right now. So let us coast in a very unusual, unique way right now. That's what I'm getting for the Gemini. Boys, I've got some cool stuff coming through right now, I have to say. I like it when I'm channeling cool stuff. All right, Cancer, you're next. All righty. A very strong image of like clouds parting and like sun coming behind. So it feels like some dark clouds are clearing. You've got the friendliness card showing up. This is about reach out to your best friends. You've got good friends that are there for you. Some of you, your primary relationship is that for you, your best friend. For some of you, your best friend is already passed on, is in spirit. You can draw from their energy if they're not in body anymore. This is drawing from your like twin flame kind of an energy is what I'm getting on the Cancers. This is could even be drawing on someone you have not yet met. But you feel that they're out there, that feeling of being seen fully and accepted for who you are. Like that is a true friend, right? Sees you for who you are, loves you unconditionally, couldn't do anything to break that love. That's this kind of depiction in this card for friendliness. It's way more than being friendly. It's kindness in action. It's like who in your life is kind to you. It's important to like reach out and appreciate where you see kindness showing up in your life, because it's not everywhere, but it is with, I feel like there are these core people, your core friends, where you feel compassion and you feel care. And that's one of the check marks I'm getting in a relationship. If a relationship is right for you, do you feel cared for? Is this person kind? Are they loving? Are they compassionate? Do they listen to you? Do they see you? These are all questions that your intuition should answer. Well, yes, if they're the right person for you, even in terms of a friendship. People are so Disney programmed that everything is about love relationship. Well, a lot can be about love, but anytime you make a connection with someone else, it can be super valuable, right? Whether that's a connection in a business, in your work, with a fellow parent, around your kids' things, around, whatever, fill in the blank. Like, we're in relationship with each other. We're in relationship with the people in front of us and behind us at the stoplight. We're in relationship with the people around us in the grocery store. So we're in relationship all the time. And right now, with everybody getting triggered, cancers, being empaths, maybe feeling a lot of this distress as you go out in the world, right? So it just is super important to wring yourself out, to nurture yourself in a powerful way, so that you are bringing kindness and compassion and love into the world, because you guys can get sour and cranky really quickly if you get toxic, if you get full up too quickly with negative feelings from somebody else. It could just like, you can go to from zero to 100 in like no time flat. So all of a sudden, you're like engorged with everybody else's feelings. And so I feel like this could be finding someone just to talk to about everything that's going on, and to validate and see you. So someone somewhere is there for you, even if it's in spirit and you have to visualize the conversation. I feel like a lot could be gotten out of having a heart to heart with someone that cares, knows, loves you, is a dear friend, or have that kind of a conversation with a spirit guide, even when you imagine, so that you can have an honest conversation. I want to have a conversation with the love of my life. You haven't shown up with, yeah, well, here I am. I'm having a conversation with you. Like, this is our hearts opening towards each other. Those kind of exercises can be really powerful. So that's what I'm getting around the cancers for this week. Interesting stuff today. Can tell, like, I'm in between eclipses today. Got that portal opened. All right, we've gone from cancers. Now we'll go to Leos. See what's going on in Leo world today. Got the isolation card. This is feeling kind of sad and lonely. This is feeling isolated, cut off. Even if you're sitting nearby someone, you may feel like you're cut off from them caring about you, or your feelings feel cut off. You may feel unheard, unloved, unlistened to, like disturbed. And it could even just be by the world out there, by something you hear on the news. It feels like you could be extra teary, even when it's someone you don't know. You see a sad story and then it's teary, or you're reflecting over things that are making you feel sad. Something feels like it's really stirring you up right now. I'm just even belching as I'm like tuning into this energy. I was just looking because, yes, all the stellium in Scorpio is squaring Leo. And so that can be very intensive. It just feels like it's hard times right now, like going through a difficult, challenging time, and you trying to smile and not let too many people know you're struggling. And you may be getting sick. There may be just a need for rest, a need to just let it sort of crash and spill out all over the floor, and then put yourself back up. It's kind of reminds me of like the deep, heavy sigh after like a deep, deep cry where you're like wailing and then you cry it out and then you can take like the biggest, deepest breath after that. Like I'm feeling that energy for the Leos. It feels like you may have something that triggers some tears this week, in which case, let it flow. If you have to get into the shower or the bathtub, walk along a creek in the woods, get someplace where you feel like you can be soft with your feelings enough to let the feelings surface. This feels like it feels like repressed grief is what it feels like to me as I'm just tuning in. Some Leos out there have some just like old stuff. Like this feels really old. This could be lifetimes old. Like it could not even be about this lifetime. And that's what happens. We get in, we start doing our work, we go backwards, we heal all the stuff that we've need to heal from this lifetime, and then we start going back and accessing past lives and healing that too, and working on healing the collective. Like we're never done with healing, not in this plane. So if you're too focused in on yourself, sometimes just shifting on someone else that's suffering, someone else that could use some help, someone else that you can just pick up the phone and call or go connect with, that can really help shift the energy and shift the focus and shift the dynamic that's stuck. So, yeah, it feels like pick up the phone and call someone. Don't isolate. Some of you feel good away from everybody else. Like that can feel like a positive isolation. Isolation doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing. It does feel heavy emotionally though. So it feels like for most of you that are watching this, it does feel like it's someone has shut you out or you've shut down yourself. There's a coldness that's happening and a heart chakra freeze over is what it feels like. Nope, not going to feel that again. Like that's what it feels like. And it feels like, okay, Grinch, like something may come along to warm your heart open. So be open for that, like a little meltdown that could be good this week. Like don't negatively talk to yourself. If you have an emotional meltdown, it's like, bravo, is what I want to say. If you have a meltdown this week, let it go, release it. Definitely there's some stuff that needs to be released. And then it feels like there can be time for celebration and partying. That's what it feels like. Once you let it go, then it's like, happy times. I feel good. So, and if this is not happening for you personally, Leo, sometimes I'll be picking up on something that's going to be happening near you and will be affecting you. So if this is not going down with you personally, it may be going down with someone whose life affects yours and you can feel it. Okay. Is that all for the Leos? Yeah, I believe so. All right, now we'll go on to the Virgos. What the Virgos need to know. And I'm getting sleepy. So I don't know if that's like Virgo things. Someone out there has also been super sleepy. It may just be that Mars sitting on me kind of thing. I have drawn the trust card, however. This is when you listen to your own intuition, you take a leap of faith, and that you can trust that your psychic signals, the things that you're picking up on, are resonating as truth. You can trust your take on other people as they present themselves. You can tell if someone is telling the truth or whether they are talking some BS. You have a radar that's really strong and you can feel this. For some of you, you're flying, literally taking a trip and flying, because I'll see that a lot in this card. It can indicate flight. It can be a literal where you feel like you're just taking flight. I mean, symbolic. It can be literal where you're in a flight. It can be symbolic where you're taking flight. Imagination is expanding. Creativity feels like infinite. Like this feels like a beautiful connection with spirit too, like where you're just, I'm going to trust my divine connection. I'm just going to trust what I need to do right now, and that's going to be the best thing for me right now. Like there's just a leap of faith, and the faith is trusting your own higher power. I don't know, for some reason I'm drawn to the shoes. The shoes aren't even pointed. I mean, the toes aren't pointed, right? It's like, I don't know. It just looks like the brakes are ready to come down at any point. I don't know. This feels like astral travel even to me. I wonder if some of you are having some astral travel experiences. And for those of you who don't know, that's when your body can lift up out of your physical body. It usually stays tethered. Usually, most people will say they see like a blue kind of cord connecting them to their body, but they can get out of their body. They can travel to other parts of the planet, to other people in other places, sometimes other dimensions, sometimes out into the stars. And then you stay, at some point you come back into your body, and sometimes people will wake up in the middle of an astral travel and see they're doing and scare themselves, and then they'll zoom right back in their body, and that can be really jolting. If you are aware that you're doing it, some people can really learn to work with it, kind of like lucid dreaming, which is when you are aware that you're dreaming, you can work with it because the dream state is incredibly powerful. So there also feels like there's something about dreams as well. So some of you may be astral traveling in your sleep or have the ability to. And some of you are just having some really vivid, incredibly insightful dreams that are giving you great information right now. Whatever it is, it looks really good. Lead the way, Virgos. For the rest of us that don't know what end is up, show us the way this week, Virgos. Okay. Go to the Libras. What my little Libra people need to know. I'm a little Libra people too. My rising's Libra. Right, I've got the ordinariness card. So this is like enjoying earth, grounding, taking care of plants, taking a walk in nature. A real need to be grounded and the value that comes from that. There's a thing called earthing where people literally make sure they put their bare feet on the earth every day. It's like a meditation practice, but it's about absorbing the energy from planet Earth up through the feet. I kind of get that energy with this ordinariness card because Libra's an air sign, so it can often be like maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. I don't know, maybe that, I don't know, maybe like that can be Libra's MO. I don't know. This is like a sense of knowing, a sense of grounding on a daily basis of like, okay, I just feel guided to do this today. And it feels like it could be like what I call domestic goddess chores, where you do things just like you do the laundry, but you're being a domestic goddess while you do the laundry, right? You're whatever you're doing, cleaning the floors, but you're being a domestic goddess while you clean the floors. It's a different way of spinning instead of like, I'm happy to do this work that I hate. So it's like enjoying each little moment, like enjoying that your physical body can move and that you have the agility to clean floors or whatever. Like it's usually only when we get injured or hurt ourselves that we appreciate, oh man, why don't I ever appreciate my thumb when it's not hurting? Or why don't I ever appreciate my hips when they're not hurting, or my back or my, so this is like a chance to stop and appreciate everything that's not hurting in your life, like physically, like how's your physical health? Are there some things that you can celebrate and tune into and enjoy and celebrate? Or how's your eyesight? How's your hearing? How's your sense of smell and taste? Like, how are you doing physically? Are there some things that you can be grateful for? This is like tuning into gratitude I'm getting as well. Like just being grateful for whatever you have today. Like being willing to like unburden your heart from resentments and heavy things. That Mars energy can really be stirring up things because Mars is opposite Aries. Aries is opposite Libra. So this Mars energy is opposite your sign. Not at the moment. It's trining your sign at the moment because it's in another air sign. And so if you have planets or points at 25 degrees of Libra, you're going to be feeling this Mars retrograde in a way that could be signaling something super positive because it's in a trine affecting a personal planet of yours that's in that same degree. So it could be like, oh, it could be going back over something that you didn't do right the first time, or it could something you've already put energy into come back around to you could also be happening. So getting benefits from stuff you've already put out there. Um, Reminds me of Saturn. Saturn will reward you for hard work. So this feels like just enjoying what there is to enjoy, having gratitude, working hard and being appreciative of the physical health it takes to do your hard work, to have the brain to be able to crunch numbers, to be able to like just appreciate things that you may not stop to appreciate is what I'm getting with this ordinariness card for the Libras this week. Okay, go on to the Scorpios. It could, I'm not gonna lie, with an eclipse that's already been in your sign, and the next one opposite your sign, and all this stellium of planets moving through your sign, it can really feel personal. Like there's a lot shifting and changing, that you're just sort of morphing into someone new. You're recreating yourself, could be happening. Going back to reclaim parts of yourself that you've lost could be happening, Scorpios. I've got the sorrow card. So this is, to me, grieving of a loss of, it could be loved ones, people you've lost, but I feel like it's a loss of self right now. Like, what have you lost that your heart desired? Not necessarily who. I mean, it could be that you've lost a parent or a child or a loved one, but this feels more like, what has been your loss that's about you? Like, have you lost your enthusiasm for life, or you've lost your positive thinking, or you've lost your motivation, or you've lost your energy? Like, I mean, there is this sense of, a lot of, Mars is your ancient ruler, and so it's retrograde in the sky. So it could be like an imploding energy, or a need to just go within and access some deeper tears and cry, like some loss of your childhood, the loss of your teenage years, the loss of wherever you are. Like, you can be grieving a period of your life you'll never get to go back to, a loss of raising children, a loss of, whatever it is. So there's some sort of grief that feels deep. It feels personal grief. So like, and you may have lost someone that you love, that may be added in there as well. Or you may be losing, like some of you are dealing with parents with like dementia, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing, so that you feel like you've kind of lost them a little bit already. So there's some grief that's ongoing for some of you. But this just feels like a heavy burden. But what I noticed with this card is like there's this beam of like the universe, like all this feels intensive, this gray wall, the sad monk here. But this area that's right behind his head is like this open expanse. And so there's an opportunity to open up and let the universe in, and let the universe in and help support you and activate things for you and work with you, help co-create things for you, and to help you clear out this emotional swamp is what it feels like. This feels like a swamp. You got a swamp thing, maybe even going on in there, that needs to be extricated, needs to be oozed out, like pried out, like cleared out, cried out, massaged out. Like, you can lay on someone else's table and let them physically work on you. That feels like delicious right now for the Scorpios, that could really use like any physical TLC from someone else, like Reiki, someone doing it at a distance, even doing Reiki for you. Yeah, bring it. Better if they can do hands-on work on you of some sort, acupuncture, chiropractic care, massage, even doing some yoga, physically moving and breathing your body could really help shift the energies. That's something that could be in your control, is breathing deeply. And because it feels like there's a cluster of emotion around the heart chakra that just feels like heavy, and need to like clear that. and open up to some joy, and open up to some like unlimited thinking, unlimited energies, help coming from the divine, so that you can just move through this and see what you need to see and clear what you need to clear. Like sometimes we're in a healing season. We're in a season of going within and dredging up our navel. Like that's just the season sometimes. Other times we're processing, we're chewing on stuff. Other times we're assimilating what we've learned, and we're putting it into action. There's all these different phases. And so if you're in an off phase to what you feel like you should be doing, relax. It'll shift, it'll change. Just get your guidance for this one day. That's all you need to do. What do I feel guided to do today? Maybe curl up with a book and cry, or watch a sad movie, or climb in the tub. Okay, that's all I get for the Scorpios. All right, I'm going to go to the Sagittarius. We have the slowing down card. You guys don't really like to do it slow. You like to do it fast. Most of you, but this is like breathe deeply. Things don't have to achieve, their full tilt boogie this week. It can move slowly. Plans can just move along easily, like easily and effortlessly. That's the theme right now. You don't have any planets in your sign right now, so you kind of cutting a break directly. But you've got lots of stuff out in the world really affecting you, or it can really affect you. You can also just be putting your head down and just doing your own thing and seeing people freak out all over the place. And like, I'm just going to keep doing my thing. Like, my thing's working. I'm just going to keep going. Just going to keep my eye on the prize. It feels like you're just moving towards a goal. You're achieving something. It doesn't matter where anybody else is. You just need to finish what you started, kind of thing, or get to where you're going. There's like a not sure what it's going to look like around the bend is what I'm getting to. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I just know today, I know if I keep building it, so it'll create something. I know if I go to this place I've never been to before, I'm going to have some adventures. Yeah, it feels solid and stable. And I do feel like someone or something new is dawning, like something is about to come in, something new is about to enter your life, and you're moving slow enough to get it. Like you're not jumping off like a little rabbit going off half cocked. So my sense is if something comes up different in your environment, you're going to catch it because you're going to be more aware because you're a bit slowed down. Again, that could be the Mars energy, because Mars, is usually a trining aspect. Aries energy is usually a supporting energy for Sagittarius. But right now with Mars offline, it's can be like just fuzzy thinking. It can be a lot of fuzzy thinking. So just take your time. It's okay to go slow and to be slow paced, and because you might have to redo something if you don't think it through. I feel a spacey energy coming on too. So it just feels like right now, a lot of people just want to check out. And so if you're picking up collective energy too, you could just want to check out or just party. But I feel like most of you are working hard right now. That's kind of what I'm getting with this energy. It's like, nope, just going to keep doing my thing. I'm just going to keep working hard. I'm working at a goal. I'm working towards something. It's something important. I got to finish this. That's kind of the energy I get for the Sagittarius. All right. And go to the Capricorns. Got the aloneness card. So this card is about the spiritual search. It's about finding your own higher power, your own connection to the divine, and following that unique way you feel like you're being called, and the unique way the divine is speaking to or connecting with you. Aloneness means you're having your own divine communion connection. There's no one else there. Even if you would be with another group of people in a church, in a synagogue, in a temple, in a satsang, in a yoga class, and whatever, and everybody's meditating around you or everybody's praying around you, you're going to have your own direct divine connection that's going to be about how it feels for you. That's the only thing that's important. So this is being focused on this week because it feels like it's super important to disconnect from the 3D and connect with spirit and ask your higher self, what would you have me do? What would you have me be? Like, where do I feel guided? What feels for my highest good? Because this feels like it could be very intensive, like a dark night of the soul kind of a feeling like you're alone and nobody's there for you. And the divine is always there for you. Your spirit guide, your spirit team, your angels are always there for you. So it feels like you would feel reassured by tapping in consciously to their energy and presence around you, so that you just can close your eyes and feel love and feel compassion and feel whatever it is that you feel like you're missing. The divine can bring that in right then and there. You can tap into the infinite potential of feeling loved, of feeling like someone hears you, someone sees you for who you are, someone cares about you. And just, imagine yourself sitting there with the divine, bringing these emotions up in a divine way, and it can really be healing. Getting out in nature too, and just taking a walk in the woods, I'm also getting, just like walking along water, just being where your mind can just be sort of almost like staring is what I'm getting. Like if you could just like stare off at something, then there's some messages that can come through too. And I don't mean like staring off at a screen. It feels like it's important to, shut down the energy of the screen time, because it can really impact your vibrations. So it's time to get out in nature, to just breathe deeply, have organic conversations with people, like with them in person. That's what I'm getting to. So that you're not feeling so alone. Like, can we get together and have tea? Can we get together and go for a walk? Can I see you? Can we get together and jam? Like, I feel like bringing this sense of solidity that you could find from spiritual connection and then connecting with someone else from that same place is sort of the two-step I see for the direction for Capricorns for this week. Connect with the divine fully, and then connect with someone else fully as well. Be present with their higher self, and they can be present with yours. That's kind of the image I'm getting very strongly. Not kind of, it is the image I'm getting very strongly for the Capricorns. Woo! Okay, we'll go to the Aquarians next. Come together. This is the participation card. This is people coming together, forming a group, doing a band, getting together with family, getting together with close friends, doing a prayer circle, doing a yoga class, this is working in combination with other people, being one of the pieces, and it's usually 4 people or 4 components that are coming together. And that, give or take, numbers aren't always exact, but sometimes it's the number 4 is important, and it feels like Aquarians, the number 4 is important. So I don't know if that also has to do with the upcoming 4th of November that's coming around this week. Could be an important date for y'all. The 4th month of the next year, also April, could be an important time 4 people coming together whenever that's happening is definitely something to take notice, because it's a solidity. It's a solid coming together. It's also I'm feeling like the north, south, east, and west, the directions pulling in the directions. If you know how to do prayers for the 4 directions, this would be a great time to do a little ritual, sending prayers, all for receiving prayers. I don't know whether they're sent or received from the different 4 directions. Don't make me lie, I don't know. But I do feel that sort of ceremonial kind of native, elements happening. There could be like a campfire or a fire circle kind of thing that's going on for some of you too. It just feels like there's gatherings with others that feels really powerful. And it feels tribal. So this may not be blood relatives. It could be just your tribe, people that feel like your family. It could be family. If your family feels like your tribe, some people have the fortune to have that. Something that you can handle together, you couldn't handle by yourself. Also, I'm getting seeing all these hands in the center of this card. Everybody's got their hands. Looks like one down, one up. So it does feel like there's an equal exchange of giving and receiving. That's what's going on. Or maybe something that's coming through you and then you're turning around and sending it to somebody else. And there's like, it's almost like the old fashioned phone change. You call someone, they call someone else, so it could be something, a message that's going around in a circle like that, but it feels more literal, like people coming together, participating with each other, being present, bringing their each unique piece to the table, and enjoying collaborations. So it feels like there's a collaborative effort here too. So this could be something new that gets started, could be a revisiting from something from your past. But it does have a really nice energy of communion. Could be poker. Yeah. Feels like fun and connection and warmth. There's like a warming of the heart energy that's going on for the Aquarians. And now we'll go to the Pisces. That's what the Pisces need to know. The healing card. Yeah, everybody needs a little healing energy, right? Psychological healing, emotional healing, mental, physical. It just feels like time to get some hands-on healing work. Heal your mind, heal your body, lie on a massage therapist table and get some body work. Go to the doctor, go to a nurse, go to get some chiropractic care, some acupuncture, some Reiki, some essential oils put on you, prayed over. All those things could fit into this. It feels like you need to receive energy right now and really receive some divine healing, some divine insight. Jupiter's now back into your sign, Pisces. And Neptune's already there. So these are the 2 co-rulers back together in your sign. So you could have some very intensive psychic experiences, dreams, spiritual revelations, ahas, realizations. I feel like you need to get quiet, and then they're just right there. Like, even if there's something physically hurting you or something that's off physically, if you go inside to that space and bring the light into wherever that is in your body that feels congested or stuck, or blocked energy, and just imagine it being revived by divine energy. You can even do some powerful healing work yourself. Ask for help from your spirit guides, from the celestial beings, the aliens that are around, like whoever you're open to for helping you, as long as they're of a high spiritual vibration. Invite them in, let them help heal. There could be some alternative healing going on too, like wasu, or which is like water massage, or working with crystals. So there's like the lotus flower is blooming here in their chest and their heart chakra. So there's like a transformation, a karmic shifting of something that's been held in the heart too. So it feels like there's a heart healing that can really happen if you're open to it, and go into that space. You know, Pisces is the slippery fish, so you can tend to overdo it one way or the other, be like getting too many things done at once and buzzing around, or you can be like too lazy that you can't move, and it can be like a bipolar kind of energy sometimes. This is like healing of that too, like just let's level out the energy flow. Let's have the same energy in the morning throughout the day, and as you're going to sleep at night, then it drops off, right? And so there's like, you know, this the sun rise and set within your own life in terms of energies as well. So it feels like needing to get back in a groove with timing. Maybe some of your sleep schedules off. Maybe you're sleeping when everybody else is awake and vice versa, and it feels like you're out of rhythm. Somebody that's the case for. So you know, it just feels like getting back into, remember the word biorhythms, you know, it's like bioenergy, the energy that we're like the meridians that we're vibing on. This would be a really great time to do like a chakra meditation and just envision all your chakras just opening and filling and spilling out and vibrating at their best places. Yeah, there's a need to just kind of clear the psyche of whatever's gone down in the past. You can't control any of it. It's like forgive yourself, forgive others, let it go. Some people still need to be a no. You don't let them back in, but you can forgive them. You don't have to carry their resentment. They're like, okay, you did that. I'm going to forgive you. I'm not going to let you back into my life, but I'm going to unburden my heart. Like, or like just the love you've never wanted to, like never felt love. Somebody's not feeling loved, like in the way they've always wanted to feel loved. That can feel like a burden too. It's like if you can just imagine feeling loved by the universe, by the divine in the way that you want to feel loved, then you can bring it right here, right now, today, and experience it. So there's a real need to like generate some self-love in a real visceral way and feel it vibrationally, and maybe even turn on some solfeggio frequency signal. You can Google that on YouTube and bring up different things where they'll be playing the vibrations that literally raise your vibration. It's time to raise your vibration too. And it feels like you can peace out and raise your vibration. Like it doesn't have to be a lot of effort and like calisthenics and, you know, a lot of vigorous activity. It can be like a relaxing, can be corpse pose is what it feels like. And it can really raise your vibration. But I'm getting like lots of water, lots of rest, like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, slow, gentle movement is needed, is what it feels like. And it feels like, it almost feels like the body needs to be wrung out. So that this toxic energy needs to be flushed. So lots of water, lots of clean, fresh water, and take it slow. That's what I get for the Pisces. Okay, boy, those were interesting this week. To go back and watch those myself to even see what, when I channel, I won't even remember what I've said. So I have to go back and see what I said. Okay, I'm going to take a break. You'll not notice it because I'm just going to pause the video and I'll come back with my guitar to play you a song. And I'm back with my guitar. Okay, so this song that I'm going to sing is called Buddha Child. I wrote it for my daughter, Samantha. She's my number 2 out of my 6 children. She was born October 26th of 1991. She's got 5 planets in Scorpio, so very intensive, very powerful. She was my second birth, my first home birth. I had my first child natural in the hospital, and then I had all the other 5 at home. Samantha was my first home birth. We were living out in Taylor at the time, which is like 45 miles outside of Austin. And the midwife almost didn't make it to the birth because she came so quickly. It was me and the midwife and my ex-husband and my oldest daughter that were in the room when Samantha was born. So when she turned 16, she just turned 31. So it was a ways back. I had no money whatsoever for her for a birthday present. And so what I did was I wrote her a song for her birthday called Buddha Child. And I do not perform this song very much because it can often bring me to tears. But I've been practicing today and yesterday, the last few days, and it hadn't made me tear up yet. Let me knock on some wood. So maybe I could get through with it without crying, but if I cry, so what? It's from the heart. Yeah, this song is called Buddha Child, and it's for Samantha. From the moment I first saw your face, I was overcome by your sweet grace. You opened your eyes and looked around, so peaceful, calm, without a sound. I held you in my arms so small. Those around just stood there in awe. Your beautiful spirit filled the air, a perfect child, an answered prayer. You are a Buddha child, an open heart to give. We can all trust you, show us how to live. As you grew up from babe to child, there was no throwing fits, no running wild. And as more siblings came to join the pack, there was no jealousy and no attacks. Even as a small child you understood. You became the peacemaker when you could. Your radiant smile was always there. You touched strangers who'd stop and stare. You are a Buddha child, an open heart to give. We can all trust you, show us how to live. Now you've become a shining star, and a beautiful woman's who you are. Soon you'll leave my tiny nest and venture out on your own quest. An amazing future's at your feet. You're 16 and oh so sweet. Samantha, Noel, this song's for you. All I need to say is to yourself be true. You are a Buddha child, an open heart to give. We can all trust you, show us how to live. You are a Buddha child, an open heart to give. We can all trust you, show us how to